to a people that he chose. It was a people, a place, and a purpose. We can look at it that way. Christian Zionism, I want to go back because that's where we started.
I'm not going to let you off on this because you have said it 3 times that God gave this land to this people. And so it is entirely fair for me with respect to ask, what land are you talking about? Because I just read Genesis 15, as I have many times. And that land, I think it says, from the Nile to the Euphrates, which is, once again, basically the entire Middle East. So God gave that land to his people, the Jews, or he didn't. You're saying he did. What does that mean? Does Israel have the right to that land? Because you're appealing to Genesis. You're saying that's the original deed.
It would be fine if they took it all.
The whole purpose was the Greater Israel Project. That's what this has always been. That's what it will always be. Do you believe that Israel has the right to expand their borders and destroy other nations that are around them? And as Huckabee says, yes, I believe the Greater Israel Project is not only acceptable, but if they want to take all of it, I agree, and we'll back them to do it as well.
That is such a dangerous statement that he made, and I was glad to see that very soon after, Jordan, at least, not all of the Arab nations thus far, and I hope that they do, but Jordan at least came out with an official statement condemning what he had said. And I think that all nations, every nation, not just the Arab nations in between the Euphrates and the Nile, all nations should condemn what he said. That is dangerous rhetoric. And to say that as the U.S. ambassador to Israel, that's his official title. I think that he is the Israeli ambassador to Israel. But as the American ambassador to Israel, to say that is such a dangerous precedent.
But if he transfers nuclear material, if Macron transfers nuclear material to Zelensky, it will probably be the last thing that they ever do. Because in Moscow, they have been as clear as it is possible to be that any transfer of nuclear weapons to Zelensky will bring nuclear retaliation. In advance, preemptive nuclear retaliation, not just against Zelensky and his regime, but against Britain and France for their reckless and existential irresponsibility. And who could blame them if they did? Now, as I said at the beginning, if that's the state of your union, Donald Trump, you are welcome to it. The SEALs, the clapping SEALs, were divided. The Republicans clapped on immigration, on the economy, on the shredding of taxes to the richest people in the United States. The Democrats sat on their hands. But there was a crucial moment at which all the SEALs clapped together. There was a crucial moment when all of the SEALs got up on their hind haunches and clapped a standing ovation for Donald J. Trump. What do you think that particular moment? What was the proximate reason for the only joint standing ovation at the State of the Union speech in Washington, D.C. last night? That's right. It was Trump's. He's got a good memory, I've got to tell you. He memorized Benjamin Netanyahu's talking points absolutely perfectly. And he delivered them, albeit in that ham-actorly kabuki theater kind of way. He delivered them with certain aplomb. And what were the lines? Well, they were a pack of lies, of course. He actually said that the Iranians refused to say that they will not build nuclear weapons, even though they say it every single day, and had said it that very day from the mouth of the man they're supposed to be meeting. I wouldn't necessarily expect them to turn up, by the way, Mr. Araghchi. But the foreign minister of Iran said it that very day, while Trump said to the world watching the State of the Union speech that the Iranians refused to say that they will not build nuclear weapons. When you are dealing with mendacity on that scale, you first of all got to ask yourself, how stupid are the people listening that they can clap that they don't know that that's a complete fiction? It is a falsehood. It is a bright, shining lie. He also said the Iranians were building ballistic missiles that could reach all the way to the United States. That's another brazen, total black lie. The Iranians have deliberately limited the range of their ballistic missiles to 2,000 miles, which is way short of the United States. Maybe Donald Trump meant to say that their ballistic missiles could hit one of our 800 US military bases around the world. Maybe he meant that, in which case he's right. Not only can they, Donald, they will. They will hit every United States base, and there's nobody threatening to invade North Korea. There's nobody sending Starlink illegal paraphernalia into North Korea. They wouldn't last 5 minutes if they did. Nobody is going to attack North Korea because they have nuclear weapons. But Iran, for its own theological reasons, has turned its face against nuclear weapons and says so every single day. The United States has no casus belli other than the hatred of Netanyahu for Iran, and the determination of the Greater Israel Project to completely dominate from the River Nile to the River Euphrates in Iraq, taking out half of Egypt, taking out all of Palestine, all of Lebanon, all of Jordan, much of Saudi Arabia, and half of Iraq. That's their Greater Israel. They wear patches on their military sleeves delineating this Greater Israel. What do you think those two stripes on the Israel flag represent? They represent the Nile and the Euphrates. When they say from the river to the sea, they don't mean the Jordan River, and they don't mean the Mediterranean Sea. That's what this is all about. And so you would need to ask yourself, why would the United States expend its blood and treasure in defense of such a project? Why would the United States destroy its own allies, having gratuitously insulted them in the mouth of Mike Huckabee last week? Why would it now endanger the very existence of the family dictatorships that rule the Arab countries in the Persian Gulf? Why would they do that? The answer is Jeffrey Epstein. The answer is the cash and the compromise that they have used to state capture the United States of America, the United Kingdom, France, and other countries, including Canada.